Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I am joined by
Jason Harris,
Greg Nagel,
and Tim Mather.
This week on the show, we are drinking beers from a brewery out of San Luis Obispo called There Does Not Exist. We had their beers on episode 338 of the podcast called HBD John. It was my birthday show. Jason actually had a beer from them. It was a Pilsner called Dream Realm. And they reached out to us, friend of the show, Anthony Bagdasarian, also known as Tony Bags, to most people in the Central California beer scene, like that part of the world. Everyone just seems to know who that guy is.
Tony Bags. He's old school craft beer. I remember that guy on like Twitter from eons ago.
Yeah, I went first Firestone Walker Invitational. I went to a party at his house that Robert French invited me to. Had no idea who this guy was, but they were like, he's great. Like, you got to go. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going because you guys are going. And yeah, he's just a really nice guy, huge beer geek. He's actually the sales director now at There Does Not Exist. So he's the one that reached out to us and he was like, hey, I heard you liked our beer. What if I sent you some? So he sent us all beers, which we very much appreciate. So thank you very much, Tony. And that's what we're drinking today. A little update before we begin on the Patreon glassware. It has shipped. I'm supposed to get it this week. I'm pretty stoked to see how the glasses turned out. So, Grandstand was true to their word. They had it delayed by a week or so, and they shipped it out exactly a week later than they said they would initially. So props to them. So that means glassware will start rolling out at the end of July, beginning of August.
It's like, wow, January, huh?
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait 6 more months before you get your glass. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this show. They sent us a wide variety of beers. You might look at their labels and think that There Does Not Exist is kind of like a hazy hype kind of brewery. That's what the labels look like to me. Not that that means anything, like, because their labels are basically like this black and white line art. For the most part, they're really well done labels. They're beautiful labels, but they remind you of kind of like black metal artwork to a certain extent.
Everything is on a black background drawn with white, so it has this very like high contrasty like ink and pen line art sort of thing going on.
Yeah, I kind of get the vibe that it's like a linograph, like a lino cut. So you have a piece of what do you call that? The lino, whatever that stuff is, and then you cut into it, and then you can make ink prints out of it. I've done that a long time ago, but it has that cool vibe.
Kyle from the chat says basically it looks like pencil art, which I would agree with that too. It's very thin lines, and it's very contrasty,
very detailed.
If you're watching the stream there, you can see a picture of their beer labels in the stream.
Kyle stole exactly what I was going to say. It looks a lot like Anchorage's artwork.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
That like white on black sort of death metal-y feel.
Yeah, I did.
True.
So like I said, when I first heard of this brewery, it was from Jason. He had their Pilsner, and I think Jason gave me one of their beers that was a hazy actually, and it was excellent. But they're not a hazy focused brewery. They're actually they opened as a saison focused brewery, as far as I can tell. They did a collab with Firestone Walker here recently called Hippie Highway. It was an oat hazy IPA, and they brewed it at the Propagator in Venice, California. And while they were there, they also, came up with a collab for There Does Not Exist, which is a beer we also have on the show called Temporal Illusion. It's a blend of 88% rye saison, 10% Sauv Blanc Wild Ale, and 2% mixed fermentation IPA.
Wait, so Hippie Highway was a collaboration with them?
Hippie Highway was a hazy collab they did at the Propagator because, as far as I could tell from the article I read from Firestone, Max Montgomery, who's the owner and head brewer of There Does Not Exist, he has his own philosophies on hazy, and Brindleson has his own philosophies, which Mind Haze is a hugely popular hazy IPA as far as mass market hazy IPAs go. So they kind of came together and said, what can we do that, feeds off both of those viewpoints?
Also worth noting that John had to track this information down in Firestone's article because they have nothing on their website. It's very stylistic, but it's very much like most every brewery is like, here's our story. They'd be like, when our brewer so-and-so got the idea to drink a beer, he went out to the farmhouse. And they've always got some flowery story. This site's just like,
their site's
beer.
very utilitarian. It's here's our merch, here's our beer, this is what's on tap, this is where we're at, and there you go. And they do give stories behind most of their beers, although on the show we only have one beer that they actually gave some backstory on their website. But it's fine for what it is. And if you're an average beer drinker, do you care that much about their backstory? Probably not. And I think that's what they're going for. But at the same time, how difficult would it be to add an about section of the website?
It make our job a lot easier.
I just somewhere in San Luis Obispo, there's some guy who's like, I'm headed out to the brewery, to his wife, and she's like, which one? And he's like, the one that doesn't exist. And she's like, okay, asshole. And he's like, bye. And insane.
You just sound like you're being a very, very obtuse, mysterious, and it'd be like, it is brewery time, but there does not exist, and that's what I'll be.
It's like going to the brewery back in the day, right? I'm going to the brewery. And which brewery?
Which one?
Brewery.
The brewery.
Yeah, you got the brewery. So
it's kind of interesting too, because I grew up in that area, just south of San Luis Obispo. So it's interesting to see over the years how, obviously I know the growth has been everywhere, and I always talk about the different places I've been and seeing the growth, but that was a town that didn't feel like it was going to necessarily have this sort of beer movement and have breweries pop up. So it's really kind of wild to see.
That's usually how it goes, right? And I'm waiting for that to happen in the IE somewhere, where it's like, who would have thought somewhere in the IE would blow up?
How many years has it been?
Yeah, I know. Still waiting. So where do we want to begin here?
I was thinking the Saison one.
I'm voting the Earthtide Summer Farmhouse Ale. I think
same.
ABV would be the easiest.
So the problem with their labels, as beautiful as they are, there's minimal information just looking at the can. So what does this can look like so I know which one to get, Jason?
Looks like it has a big wave on it.
Yeah, like a tidal wave crashing.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it'd say. It is just a big, violent-looking wave in the ocean. Yeah, the one thing is, I will say, you will notice this brand's branding on the shelf from 100 feet away, but telling the individual beers apart, you got to look a little closer. You got to kind of get in there. And,
Honey, can you reach in the fridge and grab me one of the Saison in there? And she's like, which one's the Saison? I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, they do have information on the can on the side, printed ABV and all that kind of stuff. But if it's just sitting on a shelf, unless you know what it is already, you're not going to know what's going on. So
Summer Farmhouse.
Again, as beautiful as the labels are, it's something I think they'll work out over time.
I mean, I don't know. Look at brands like Other Half, though, who print their shit in 8-point font on there, and
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's still. I mean, technically, it's still on there on the front, but yeah. I'm not criticizing them. I don't care what they do. It still looks cool to me.
Yeah, it's a yellow beer.
Mine has had this
lemon meringue.
Pillowy head hanging on too. It was about a good 3/4 inch, and now I still got about a 1/4 inch lingering on the beer.
Yeah, this beer is called Earthtide again. If you missed it, it's 4.5% alcohol by volume, and it's a farmhouse ale made with Norwegian yeast. So this I'm expecting to be really good. I think this is in their wheelhouse, considering they were going to open initially as a Saison focused brewery. I have a feeling this is going to be great.
Now, when I hear Norwegian yeast, I think the Kveik yeast, but is there something else I'm not thinking of? Because if I smell this, it very much has your traditional Belgian Saison kind of phenolic aroma.
As far as they're saying on Untappd that it was fermented with an ancient Norwegian farmhouse ale strain. And then they list what's in the grist as far as the grain bill goes. So I have no idea. I'm assuming it's like some kind of a play on Gvike because Gvike is just it's been around for a long time, and it's just recently that brewers of hazy IPAs have latched onto it because it's such an easy yeast to work with. I mean, you can ferment the damn beer at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will just produce these beautiful phenolic, not phenolic, these what's not the fruity esters and stuff like that. Not phenolic. You don't want phenols in.
Oh, it's got a bunch of Band-Aid on it. Wow.
That was a not the right word, but I think that's the play on this. It's at least from what I can tell.
This is very much what I would consider like a traditional European saison. It has a little bit of that kind of funkiness, but overall it's pretty light, pretty refreshing. It has more body than I would say some of the like more mixed culture tart beers that you get. Dude, this one's got a little bit more going on. I'm getting kind of like a coriander character out of it. I don't know if there is coriander added or if it's just kind of coming from the grain and yeast bill, but
I expected this to have a little more bite as far as acidity goes, and it does not. Surprisingly, I mean, I would welcome it, but this drink's very clean as far as a saison goes. It's the yeast does shine on the nose, I think, more than the flavor, though.
Yeah, it's sort of it's very approachable for a summer saison. Like, I think maybe that's what they were going for, is just something that's approachable for a wide audience. It doesn't have any sharp edges. It's sort of like this pillowy, soft, lemon meringue, summery sort of vibe, sort of bready, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I'm getting no no acidity or tartness out of it at all on my end. This is definitely, when I mentioned like saisons that tend to not be in my wheelhouse, this is kind of falling in that realm of like, the yeasty, crispy sort of thing. But this one's actually really smooth and nice, and there's not a ton of funk on it, which I appreciate.
I think it definitely comes off more traditional as far as the saisons go, kind of like Saison DuPont. It has big Saison DuPont vibes to me, just because Saison DuPont's all about that yeast character, not any kind of like wild character or anything like that.
Greg mentions like no sharp edges, and honestly, I kind of get like, maybe it's me, but I get like a bite at the end, like after drinking it, like there's this little bit of either a bitter bite, or I almost want to say like kind of spicy, sort of like a little spicy tingle or something.
It does have like, there's definitely like that slight Belgian-y funk that lingers when you're drinking kind of more traditionally made Belgian beers, which I understand this is not a Belgian yeast, it's a Norwegian yeast, right. But it definitely has that character. Like I have that taste in my mouth that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sitting in somewhere with 25 different branded glasses, and they call the fries frites.
When I judge acidity, so what you want to do is put some beer in your mouth while plugging your nose, and then if you can sense any sour, I think there is some. It evokes some like saliva in your mouth, like
I don't really get almost any out of this, which I don't necessarily mind. I don't think they were trying to go for that. They're really going for more of a traditional. I think this is a really good, somebody who's dabbled in wheat beers a little bit, something to kind of stretch their legs a little and have them try something different without being too challenging and too over the top in the like estery flavors.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for me, this is a total crusher. Like, as far as summer sippers go, like having this with a lineup of Pilsners, like to back it up, like this is great. It's like, it'll break up, not that Pilsners are boring, but kind of breaks up the monotony of like Pilsner lager. Like, it's like a wild card. It's like, it's in that same vein, but you get a little bit of a, European funk on it kind of thing.
And there's a ton of body in this beer for being 4.5%. It really feels full and not watery at all. And I would not guess this beer's under 5. There's no booziness to it at all, but there just really feels like a fullness here that you would think that there's more malt in there to get that, but they really pulled off a really solid session beer.
Yep.
I like this a lot.
It kind of reminds me of like a Hef done without Bavarian yeast. Who was that brewery that did one? It was Vidmer, whatever. They use alt beer yeast in their huge national Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
And it has no banana, no clove. It's sort of just nice, and it's a big full beer. And I get the same vibes from this as far as like the malty backbone.
But there is more yeast character in this beer than like a Widmer. But
totally.
But I could see it being a nice, change of pace for someone who's used to that kind of drink, right? Like, hey, I normally drink whatever wheat beer, which is probably less and less of the market these days. But
like
this would be a nice
lemon in this. It'd be perfect.
Oh wow, yeah, it would work really well.
That does sound good,
right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's sort of in that Hef vibe where if you did just add a little wedge on the top of the glass, you'd be like, dude, I'm ready to hang out by the pool all day and do nothing.
It would definitely emphasize that lemon meringue vibe that you mentioned earlier, for sure. Yeah, I would dig on that for sure. So, where do we want to go from here, guys? Let's see. There's
a dark lager.
Yeah,
that's also low
with lager dark,
low alcohol. All right, let's get the beer first.
This one's got a stalactite. Which one's point up?
Mite.
All right,
tight because it's hanging on tight.
Ah, that's a good way to remember it.
And then the ones that are on the bottom might reach the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, you guys have clearly hung out with some park rangers before. So.
I just went to a cave last week, so I know my stalactites and mites. Ooh, this looks pretty.
So I did find out that the Hello, We're Here is a hazy IPA. Because I didn't read the can the first time. So there you go. We do have a hazy.
I prefer to call them hazy IPAs, John.
Sorry. I will note that for next
I'm
time.
really trying to get hazy IPAs to catch on. So.
Okay, so up next from There Does Not Exist, we are drinking a beer called Moonset. This is a 4.8% alcohol by volume dark lager, or Munich Dunkel if you're nasty. And I did not expect to get a beer like this from these guys. Again, I looked at their artwork on their cans and assumed it was going to be this hype show kind of thing. And this is not a hype beer at all. This is something that I welcome. I like dark lagers, and I'm curious to try.
You're just like, these cans look cool, so I guess they must make some hype beer styles. But
that's what I said earlier, and that's not the case. So
yeah, I actually get the logic. You're like, yeah, when you see kind of a certain type of cool can on the shelf, you just generally are like, yeah. So is that a pastry stout, a hazy IPA, or a fruited Berliner?
I guess they could also be like a pastry stout brewery from these cans too. That's another vibe I would definitely get. Like how much chocolate is in this beer, and will it kill me because there's just too much sugar in it? Yeah. Not the case with this beer, though. This beer looks beautiful. Very dark brown. Nice caramel head. Looks fantastic. That's just pretty.
You can see through it.
That.
There's some highlights poking through. It's not completely dark. It is just sort of dark.
Okay. Very light roasty notes on the nose.
A little bit of roasty, a little bit of brown bread. Not a ton of roast, though. Just like a hint of it. I would guess there's a tiny amount of malt adding in that roast character.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like a German, like a Munich dark lager. This is definitely like an American take on it.
Yeah, they listed as a Munich Dunkel on Untapped, but I don't know if they control their Untapped account.
Yeah, Munich Dunkel, you're looking for, bready, like toasted pizza bread,
Okay.
Yeah, the can just says dark lager, so I think Munich Dunkel was somebody's interpretation, adding it into Untapped. Yeah.
That's what I expected. It's clean, dry. Got a decent body to it. The same amount of roast I got on the nose, I'm getting on the flavor, just very light and subtle.
It's a little like it's like a retro nasal thing. Like when you drink it, you don't really get a ton of roasty flavor, but then you kind of exhale, and there's that roastiness there, just kind of lingering on your palate.
You get any dusty cocoa on the nose?
Not on the nose, on the flavor. Actually, I do get a little bit of that powdery cocoa.
Now that you mention it, I do get it on the flavor. Nose, not so much. The nose for me, the subtle roastiness is what stuck out to me. Maybe a little bit of like esteriness from the yeast on the nose as well, like a little bit of a fruit character. Just everything's kind of light and balanced, but it's definitely a malt forward nose, like a grain forward nose.
I'm getting a hint of like a raisiny taste, or like a chocolate raisin, like a raisinette kind of. Again, at the finish, it's not a huge flavor, but there's notes of it there. It's cool because as you drink this beer and try it more, you're kind of pulling different little subtle flavors out.
I feel like most of the roasty sort of flavor for me is kind of happening at like the top of the palate, more like in as you drink it, more of like in the nasal passage. I'm getting more of that like roasty character up there.
Yeah, I think that's what Jason said when he said the retro nasal thing. That's of where the beer shines, really. You take a drink and it's like clean and actually for a dark beer, a bit refreshing, kind of like Guinness is. But it really kind of blooms when you let it sit and you breathe and let it sit a little bit. And I completely agree. Yeah, it's a fantastic beer, like super clean. Very tasty.
Yeah, this is leader worthy.
And it's, unlike something like Guinness, it's not as challenging to the palate. Guinness has a lot of roast to it, a lot of that kind of toasty character, where this definitely just feels a lot more drinkable. This is still like a hot day beer, as far as I'm concerned. But it could also be like a more of a fall day beer as well.
Yeah, there's a time and place for Guinness for me, because it's a low ABV beer. For me, it's not too challenging, and I can just crush Guinness. But it's also a nitro-infused beer. It's there's no CO2 in it, and it comes off a bit heavier, I think, because there's no CO2. It doesn't lift it off your palate. Where this definitely, if I'm outside doing yard work, I could vibe on this.
Do they list the malts on there? Because I do get the roasted barley like Guinness has. I don't know if you're just I picked it up from you guys talking about it, and I'm like, oh my god, that tastes just like blah blah blah.
Well, this is the one beer on their website where they give details on the beer, and they say it's built with various crystal and high dried malts to create a smooth, malty backbone with a hint of roast, while still maintaining a crisp finish. And those malts combined with their lager yeast lay down aromas of honey, burnt sugar, and fig. I didn't get any fig, but okay.
Fig was one of the, when you were talking about fruits, that was the darker plum or fig.
Maybe that's what I'm referring to then, like a plum.
Yeah,
or
when
a
I'm
fig.
saying like chocolate raisin, I could see fig being probably a better descriptor for that.
Yeah, but it's an excellent beer. Again, it's a summer sipper in my opinion, and it's hot as balls, California right now.
No doubt.
This exists the maximum amount of malt that I'm willing to tolerate in the summer. Like
we drank some Munich Dunkels yesterday at Green Cheek, and that was fabulous. Like, man.
Yeah, I met up with Jason yesterday to give these beers to him for himself and for Greg. And Jason and Greg went to Green Cheek, and you posted a photo of I don't know what the beer was, but a beer and a Topo Chico. And I was like, that looks so good.
Oh, that was the Green Cheek Timbo, yeah.
Okay, that was the Timbo collab with Highland Park.
I was going to try to. So Windsor had posted earlier in the day. They're like, we're one of 10 stores that got selected that we got cases of all the Timbo releases. And I'm like, sweet, I'll go down there and get some.
Sold out.
All fucking gone. Every single one of them. Less than 8 hours had passed since they posted that they got it. And it was
that's good. Good for Windsor, bad for you. So
yeah. So they did have the Eclipse bow on draft, so I tried that, which was good, but not.
What's the Eclipse bow?
Instead of Mosaic, it's Eclipse.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
I thought something darker in my brain because Eclipse,
just Eclipse.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then I bought some hops because Tim gave me the idea to try to make some hop water, and I'm going to try to make some hop water.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Tim was in our private chat asking how to carbonate water, and you can do it the home brewer way and make it super complicated, or just get a soda stream and make it easy.
I would say I would just do it in soda stream and fill it a little bit less, because if there's any sort of non-water particulate in the soda stream, it'll foam up and kind of overflow. So you just got to give it you got to give it a little headspace. Like, even I'll put in these little, I have like little dried, it's like dehydrated citrus packets. And if you put that in before you carbonate it, the whole thing fucking explodes.
Huh.
You gotta let me know how it goes. I'm really curious. I've been going through way too much hop water from this place in Colorado called Hoplark, and I was like, maybe I should just try making my own.
Yeah, the big thing is, so like Avery Ward in the chat, who's one of our new supporters, thanks for hanging out, just mentioned the Lagunitas hop water, and that one is sweet for me. It's too sweet. I don't want a sweetness when I'm drinking like a seltzer kind of thing. I'm like, would really just boiling some hops and taking that water and carbonating it, like that could be enough.
I haven't had the Lagunitas. Is there more than just water and hops in it?
It tastes like it has sugar in it.
It's a little on the sweet side, and it's also very expensive for what it is.
Totally.
You're better off buying LaCroix if you want to get that same vibe, because it's really good. I like the sweetness to it. Whether or not it has sugar added to it, I have no idea. It tastes like it does, though. Like some kind of sweetener feels like it's been added to it.
Yeah, it's 0 calories, so they're probably using something like aspartame or something.
Right.
The stuff I've been having is literally just like carbonated water and hops, and it's been, and there's a series. There's like 4 different hops, like Sabro, Mosaic,
Sabro.
Yeah, and a couple others. So it's kind of cool. So it was like, you could probably be more effective and efficient just doing it yourself. So
just to
figure it out.
Like summarize what I recommended to Tim, you can get a carbonator cap for a 2-liter bottle from a homebrew shop for like, I don't know, $5. It screws on top of a bottle, and it's got like a corny keg fitting on it, and hook up some CO2 to it, shake it for, I don't know, 30 seconds, make sure it's cold. Shake it for 30 seconds or so at like 30 psi, and you basically carbonate to taste. The problem with that is you have to have a CO2 tank with a regulator, and that's where it gets expensive, and
that's like
it's taking up
$200.
space, and it's like $200.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have a 20-pound tank of CO2 that's going to last a long time compared to the soda stream, where you got to swap those out, I don't know, every 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, once a month or so for me.
Yeah. But it's
my idea,
like I said, there's expensive homebrew solutions, and then there's SodaStream.
I'm thinking I could come up with something really. Sorry, Greg. To finish my thought before my brain breaks. I was really thinking, like, if I made some sort of hop tea and then carbonated it, and then used the freeze dried powdered grapefruit concentrate, and put that in there, and have just kind of like a hoppy grapefruit seltzer. Like, that would be like the non-drinking IPA of my dreams. So yeah, we'll see if I can figure it out.
To that extent, what I would do, and I've done this before, is to soak your hops in Everclear or vodka or whatever, just some neutral spirit. And then in your 5-gallon keg that you have filtered water in, you filter out the hops, and you'll have whatever juice out of that. And it's going to be really low alcohol.
You're going to be
for a 5-gallon batch. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want it stronger, you can absolutely use more Everclear or something like that and make your own seltzer and have it be like 5%. I just don't know the ratios, but it totally works.
So there you go, Tim. He's going to wait and see what Jason does.
Yeah.
See how it pans out.
I'll let you be the guinea pig before I go too far.
I mean, I have a soda stream too. I could just try it myself. So moving on, we have a hazy IPA, another IPA that I don't think is hazy, and then the bottle. So I say,
look who joined us. Tony Baggs in the chat.
Hey, it's Tony Baggs.
Hey,
what
it's
up,
Tony
yo?
Baggs. How you doing?
Thanks for the beer, man.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Cheers, bro.
I say we go with the IPA Stellar Fawn. even though it's higher alcohol. I'm assuming it's a clear IPA.
Yeah, on the label is like a moose or a chicken with a tree. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it looks like kind of like a
It-
death metal elk.
It's like the elk from Princess Mononoke. The anime,
Yeah.
after all of the like weird black tentacle things take over.
That is dead on. I gotta find a picture of that shit.
He's like, I am Groot. Had to rinse my glass after
Can only
that
kind
one.
of find the middle versions of it. I'm not gonna look that hard, but yeah, that's a good pull, Tim. I totally agree.
The anime nerd in me just came out.
That's like one of the 4 animes I've seen.
That's a good one. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah, this is a regular IPA as far as I can tell. All right. So moving on to the next beer from There Does Not Exist, we're opening Stellar Fawn. This is a 7.1% alcohol by volume IPA, and we don't really have any other details on this. I don't think they have anything listed on their website for this beer that I can see. Nope. So we're just going to experience this beer with
And
no information.
Anthony in the chat also was like, it's an elk, and then he said or a fawn, which is the name of the beer, Stellar
Right.
Fawn.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
I get it
context clues.
Actually, if you look at the label, it kind of looks like a fawn, like evolving into an elk, like growing into an elk kind of thing. I don't know.
Looks
Maybe it's
pretty
just
sick.
me. Yeah, it's very, very metal. I mean, it's
It is metal.
it's very metal.
Oh man, this smells good.
Yeah, it smells very candy-like on the nose. Candy-like hops.
That's the kind of hop presence that I'm looking for. Like I smell that, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a good IPA.
Holy moly!
doubt, right?
Yeah, it's a nose that you could chew. You know, you can taste it and chew it. You know what I mean? That's what I get from this. Wow. I am going to finish this can for sure. Just by smelling it, it's going to be fantastic.
This one's kind of a nice change, honestly, compared to other IPAs. I've already sniffed it and sipped it, and it's nice. It's like taking it back to the roots a little bit. I think
it has Pliny vibes for me.
We
right?
gotta make that Tim's like new seal of approval. Like this beer, boom, sniff it and sip it. That's
Sniff it and sip it.
Sniff it and sip it. That's what Tim says.
I like it. That could be
It's going to be a
new
1 minute
sticker.
segment. Let's check in with Tim's 1 minute sniff it and what? Sniff it and sip it.
Sniff it and snip it. No, not
That's what I
snip it.
say.
no
Sniff
sniff
it
it.
and sip it.
It's falling apart.
Never mind. Yeah, this I don't know why I thought. Well, I know why. I do get Pliny vibes off of this. The nose, for one, it's got that like thick candy, super well integrated hop nose that I get from Pliny. And the flavor is just, it kind of backs it up in the same way. It's got like a fuller mouth feel with ample bitterness backing it up.
See, I would go into a same zone, but not that beer. I would say this is Happy Hops. Like this reminds me a ton of Happy Hops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
I wish the hops were listed on here because I feel very confident there's mosaic in this.
it's not as extreme as Pliny. I think the Happy Hops is a good, because that one wasn't as it didn't have the same sort of hop bite. Like this has a really nice it's really nice, but it's kind of like, it's not as like in your face, gonna like bite your tongue off.
This is a modern style hop bursted IPA, which is my personal fucking favorite, which is it's not super bitter. It's got a ton of hop aroma. It's got a ton of hop flavor. It's the modern interpretation of the West Coast IPA that is weirdly not named, and you can't like find, you just got to hope that when you buy a good West Coast that it tastes like this. But like this, like if you think,
I think
of
the closest we got to that is a hybrid IPA. Someone mentioned that in one of our live streams once, and I kind of stuck with that. It's a hybrid.
I think it's its own thing, though. It's not like a hazy IPA at all, really. It just is a low bitterness, super hoppy IPA. Like a great example of that beer that I think people this will be relevant to nobody because you can't get it in California either. But Breakside's Wanderlust, which is like the standard West Coast IPA in Portland. That beer reminds me a lot of this beer also, which I would say
a few times. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like the standard IPA that's on everywhere when you're up there. But this beer reminds me a lot of that, and that's praise for me. I really love that beer. So,
dude, the nose is great. It's got cotton candy meets fruity pebbles meets like bubblicious. It's very, very fruity, and it's very sort of desserty on the nose. Like just trying to pick apart like all the different fruitiness of it. It's so fruity. Like what?
Again, the nose comes off very. It sounds weird to say, but the nose smells viscous. It's like very thick and hoppy. You know what I mean? It's not. Sometimes you smell a hoppy beer and it comes off a little acidic or biting on the nose. It comes like overly bitter on the nose, even though you have to taste bitterness. Like you can kind of sense what you're getting into when you smell a hoppy beer that has like that kind of bitter edge to it. And this does not have that. I think Happy Hops is the proper call on this beer now that I am drinking it and letting it sit but still Happy Hops and Pliny, they're same lineage, kind of same vibe kind of thing. So,
well, I would say actually, I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I would say that Happy Hops is Russian River's take on a modern style West Coast IPA, where Pliny the Elder is their take on a classic West Coast IPA. And I think they're both great examples of the differences if you try the beers together, which is Pliny's got a lot more bitter. It's got a lot more pine. There's a lot more vegetal character in it because they're using a lot of sea hops and a lot of older hop varietals that don't have those kind of fruity tropical flavors.
And I'm going to push back on you a little bit because you said that Pliny the Elder was their take on it, but that's the original fucking double IPA.
Yeah, no,
it was the style.
It was the style defining category. I would
the
say
benchmark. Yeah, this is the de facto double IPA.
It really is. It is the
Jason.
It is the category defining IPA, and that is a good distinction. Important distinction, Greg. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I think when we do this on the show where we kind of, venture off into talking about another brewery's beer when comparing it to the beer we're drinking, it's not like we're saying, oh, they ripped off that brewery. I'm getting vibes of that brewery, which I'm complimenting that beer for. Because I think this is just well executed. Really
this
good.
Is on par with the best West Coast IPA producers that I've had. And
I mean, if you spent any time working with Matt Brynildson, the master of fucking hops himself, like the dude knows everything there is to know about hops. I hopefully gleaned something off of him, and it seems like he did because these beers are executed perfully.
And again, frankly, Max came from Firestone Walker, so the dude knows hops. You're right, Greg.
And I will say too, contrary to your typical homebrewer wisdom, which is anybody can make a West Coast IPA, just throw hops in and it covers up all your mistakes.
No.
They say all this bullshit. No fucking way. The test of a good brewery, in my opinion, is a West Coast IPA because it's so easy to shit the bed on that kind of style. People are like, yeah, that's good enough. And they have diacetyl. They have no fucking aroma. They're just terrible. And this is like a S tier West Coast IPA. This is fucking really good.
As I keep drinking it, I'm getting like some 7-Up vibes, like the lemon lime is sort of popping out.
Interesting. Okay.
This is definitely a kind of like a game changer sort of West Coast IPA style for me on this. It's like you said, Jason, kind of like everything that I would want wrapped up into a nice little can with badass artwork on it. Because
Tim, you're not too much into like bitter West Coast IPA, right?
Oh, I mean, no, I wouldn't say that. Like I have no problem with.
Okay.
It varies. It just depends on like I'm very much like I like this style right now, and then I like this style right now, and I think like this is a really nice sort of perfect balance of things that like the aroma and the flavor and the, it's not hitting you in the face with the hops, but they're there and you can fully make them out. And so it's for sure something to like go back to, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Aroma, especially, I feel like newer breweries really struggle to get good aroma out of their IPA. And this smelled like, the moment you pour it in the glass from across the table, you're just like, oh, what is that? I can smell that from here.
Like really it smells exciting to drink. Like as a seasoned beer geek, you pour it and smell it, you're going, oh, okay. You know what you're in for. You just pray there's no diacetyl on it. And if that's, once you get past that, you're good to go. If there's no D on it, then you're fine. And that's this beer for me. It's so good.
Well, man,
I'll put my D on your nose if you want.
We're setting a high bar for the next beer. We're going to the hazy boy, huh?
Yeah, I guess up next. I mean, it makes sense to go to the hazy IPA.
I like that Tim sounds like he's an NPR host all of a sudden. He's like, and this beer has big notes of.
Just embrace the echo, Tim. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's all fine.
I'm just trying to stifle the fact that this room has no furniture in it.
I'm telling you, if you buy that thing I told you to buy for $35, because it's all about the echo bouncing back to your face, it'll sound fine.
Yeah, no, I plan to have a better setup once, so that's one of the things on the list.
It's all good, homie.
And there's no cats. That's the problem. You need more cats walking around to bounce the sound off of.
That's the key.
It is. Cats are useful for something, right? Well, this is hazy.
Where'd Jason go?
Probably to get a can. Let's check in with. Let's wait for Jason.
I want details on this beer.
Yeah, something smells funky.
Yeah, there. Let's save
like
it.
overripe.
Let's wait. Let's wait for Jason. Right. Let's wait for Jason.
I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. I'll be quiet.
It's not Idaho 7. There's a yeast character in there.
We're just waiting for Jason to come back.
Oh man, I thought I could stealthily leave BioBreak. RIP.
And he's back.
We just cracked.
We're back, baby.
We cracked. We got sacked. And,
all right. So up next from There Does Not Exist, we are opening Hello, We're Here. This is a 6.8% alcohol by volume hazy IPA that's double dry hopped with Simcoe, Mosaic, Citra, and wait for it, Idaho 7.
An interesting note from Tony Baggs in the chat too is they name the beers after they have the artwork done. So
that's
like
cool.
if you look at this is like kind of two like humanoid figures made out of like squiggly lines, almost looks like bundle of nerves or plant roots or something that are making a person.
Yeah,
and there's two of them with like a little kind of floating planet between them. So then you see that and you're like, hello, we're here. You're like, oh, there's some kind of aliens or something. Hello. It's fun. It's a fun adventure.
We're here.
I'd be curious to know from like a technical perspective how these are actually created.
They look like so my buddy draws a lot of kind of stuff similar to this, and he draws it with pencil and paper.
There's a lot of freaking detail in here.
Yeah, it's
You could do a lot of like this could be white pencil on black paper, actually, would probably work really well for this sort of thing.
It looks very vector though, but which could be very complicated. I don't know.
I'm sure it's cleaned up at some point, even if it's done by hand. So, but
yeah, that's true.
It looks really sweet if you like get in close on it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the nose on this beer doesn't do it for me. It's kind of got this like bruised apple sort of vibe.
Yeah, it's got something weird happening on the nose. When I first opened it and smelled it, I said, I don't know what that is.
It's like a mealy bruised apple that's a little bit starting to go bad in your fruit bowl.
Bruised apple is a very interesting like fruit description, but for some reason when you say it, like I can imagine what that smells like.
Yeah, maybe it comes off kind of like cidery apple kind of thing, like an apple that's going bad, or
Fermented
like a
apple.
green apple kind of thing.
And so this
But it doesn't
one's
taste like it.
This is a hazy with Simcoe Mosaic, Idaho 7, and Citra.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other.
I like Idaho 7. I was just discussing this in our Discord with some of our listeners hanging out in there talking beer. And I think Idaho 7 is good if it's low in the mix, right? It's like you're making a song. If you turn the bass all the way up, it just ruins it. Like Idaho 7 needs to be low in the mix.
Idaho 7's like when your speakers are broken and one's in the back seat just going. You're like, man, just turn down the bass, bro.
Have you guys tasted this beer yet?
Yeah. It tastes nothing like it
Yes.
smells.
It tastes fantastic. That's why I don't understand what's happening on the nose. I don't think it's a hop thing. I think it might be a yeast thing. I don't know what yeast they used in this, but it comes off. It has this weird, like, fruit funk. Like, I think Greg nailed it with the bruised apple thing. Like, when I think bruised apple, I think like green apple going bad, or an apple rotting or beginning to rot, where maybe it starts to taste or smell a little funky or like vinegary or acidic.
Well, that's the whole thing. That I think bruised is perfect because it's not it. You're not getting like a rotten note out of it. You're getting just that kind of like, all right, there's something a little weird.
You can smell that yeast is activated on the apple and something is going on behind the scenes, behind the skin, and it's starting to let off some aroma.
But the flavor of this beer, it is really good. It's really drinkable. I'm glad they kept the ABV down. I think it's under 7, which I appreciate. I really think IPAs just have diminishing returns after 7%. The hop combination works pretty well. Idaho 7 is not really that visible in here from the
not at
normal
all.
notes I detect.
Yeah, I mean, unless it was playing some kind of a role on the aroma, which I don't think it is. It's good Idaho 7. As far as
maybe a little bit. There's a little bit of a kind of earthiness to the hop character when you're trying it. But again, with hazies, we talk about all the time, it sands the edges off the hops, so it makes it a lot harder to identify individual hop flavors.
This is what I would probably refer to as, like, I don't know, perfect might be too strong, but like for me, almost like a perfect balance of hazy and hops, because you're getting this like really kind of soft, this soft initial flavor where you're getting like kind of that tropical that you expect from the hazy, like a little bit of fruit, a little bit tropical, but not like in your face. It's not super citrusy. And then that quickly kind of fades into the bitterness that you would want from, like, you know, the West Coast sort of just hoppy IPA. So I feel like I'm getting, realistically, like for me at least, I'm getting kind of like this perfect balance that it's not a stereotype of a hazy, and it's not a West Coast. It's like this kind of amalgamation that I'm really enjoying.
There is a little bit of that kind of milkiness, like creaminess to the mouthfeel on this beer too.
Wow.
There's a slight sweetness in it. I think it's a little bit kind of what we've talked about on the show, that dogfish oat crazy fucking thing. But
Hazy O's.
But it's a little bit in that vein, but not turned up to 12 like Dogfish did it. It does have kind of a nice creamy mouthfeel. It's a little bit sweet, but not too much. I think this beer works pretty well. Like I said, the one constructive thing would just be the aroma doesn't do it for me at all.
Yeah, and I don't know what's happening on the aroma. I mean, the more I smell it, I mean, I think you mentioned Hazy-O from Dogfish, and I didn't like the aroma on that either. And I think that was more of a malt-driven aroma than anything else. Because I think the malts in Hazy-O just completely fucked it up. Like the grain bill on that beer was just weird.
How the tables have turned. John hating on oats now.
Right.
Mr. Sack of Oats himself.
But I don't know what to make of the nose on this, because flavor wise, it's there. They nailed it. It's got like a fruity, note to it. A little bit of bitterness. I think for me, the mouth feels fine. It's definitely fluffy and more viscous than the IPA we just had. But the nose, there's just something happening on the nose that I can't explain. That I think we're all kind of getting the same vibe from the nose on this beer. But for other people, maybe they aren't noticing it, and it's just okay. It's interesting. I don't know. It could be like a stinky fruit kind of thing, and people like stinky fruit, like it's kind of like the guava.
I just want to know what the yeast is.
I really like the creaminess on the mouthfeel, though. Like I think for me, they hit a real sweet spot where it feels kind of creamy on your palate without being like cloying. Or without being just like milky, like a lot of those super lactose heavy beers are. It's pretty cool. The mouthfeel and the flavor on this beer are great. Like if this beer had like a nice big hop aroma, it would be a top tier beer. That's the only thing holding it back.
Yeah, there's something going on with the aroma on this that I'm not digging. But overall, though, I'm going to finish this can as well. It's a tasty beer. Like it's really good.
Also, the last one set a real high bar. So
yeah, we should have switched the two, but we don't know. All right, so the bottle is the last one, guys.
The bottle.
Saison.
Saison.
Yeah, I don't know the board.
Saison.
Sorry.
Oh, this looks rad, dude.
This Saison is going to be more in the mixed culture tart area. I can smell it.
Woo-wee! Oh, and it's a collab with Firestone.
Indeed. Wow.
From Barrel Works. I wonder if they fermented it at Barrel Works.
Again, I don't have a lot of details. I put it in the show notes.
Yeah, you're like, there's a bunch of text here on the label, and it's like, oh, government warning. Just.
Well, I can tell everything from Barrel Works has this like signature woody thread that's sort of like it's like a bass line in a song through all of Barrel Works beers. I don't get that vibe on this, so I would assume it's fermented on site at There Does Not Exist.
Yeah, it has their name on it. I think if they brewed it,
it was brewed at There Does Not Exist.
Yeah,
it was brewed at There Does so Barrel Works. I mean, it's not a Barrel Works beer.
The label on this one, it looks like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen is being like ripped apart by some sort of organic force. It's pretty cool.
Whew. You should take a sip.
All right, so let me start this.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so up next, the final beer. I don't like that. So the final beer from There Does Not Exist is called Temporal Illusion. This is a collab they did with Firestone Walker. They also did a collab with Firestone at the same time they did this collab, or around the same time, called Hippie Highway. That beer came out 3-4 months ago, I want to say. I mean, that's what my brain's telling me. I could be wrong.
No, it was a little, well, unless I got it late. I had it at the Propagator.
Okay.
Probably, well, yeah, maybe 2 months ago. Okay, yeah, so you're probably right.
Okay.
Yeah, so from Anthony in the chat, he says, Hippie Highway was a brewer at Firestone Venice last month, or was brewed. Sorry, I think you probably meant. And then this Saison, they brought it in from Barrel Works and pushed it into their Saison. By it, I'm not sure if he means like a culture or what they did, but
yeah. So according to the notes on Untapped, this beer is made with 88% rye Saison, 10% Sauv Blanc Wild Ale, and 2% mixed fermentation IPA. And it also said on Firestone Walker's notes, Matt brought his 2 kids over to There Does Not Exist to follow the brew, and even took turns graining out the lauter tun. The finished beer was blended with select barrel-aged beers from our Barrel Works Wild Ale cellar to add a touch of funk. So there you go.
So the funk and the tart, they stand out like crazy to me.
I'm going to say the 88% rye Saison, that's the beer they brewed. and then the Sauv Blanc Wild Ale and mixed fermentation IPA. Maybe that was what Barrel Works contributed to the beer. I don't know.
That tracks. That sounds about right. The on the nose, the white wine notes are there for sure. You can get that acidity that you can tell that it's a mixed fermentation beer. There's a little bit of funk on the nose, but not a lot.
This is my jam. I like this.
The like crisp kind of fruit aroma of a white wine. I can see that.
Uptown.
Oh, this
Funk
is so fucking good, guys.
Yeah. So when you take a sip, there's a lot of carbonation that explodes the flavor all around your mouth, and the acidity makes you salivate, kind of bringing those same flavors all around your mouth, and then it sort of like coats your whole palate, and then sort of fades into this nice, I don't know, like funky lemon meets I don't know, it's just great.
I think that pretty much sums it up. That's
but I will say this beer is tart, not sour. It is, it's got a little bit of tartness to it that really brightens up the flavor. But a lot of times I think breweries go too far and they make these way too sour, and then it becomes undrinkable.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, how do we fix that? I don't know. Throw some fruit and shit in it, and it becomes unrecognizable, right? Where this is still a beer flavored beer. It's a little bit tart. It's a little bit funky. Super good. It is in that kind of goozy kind of area. I know it wasn't made in that way, but it's in that flavor profile. Like if you like Trey Fontaine, like this would be fucking great.
It is rustic as fuck. It's rustic like Centenarius, like rustic.
I get serious like Chardonnay barrel vibes from this. Not that I get Chardonnay on it necessarily, but like Saison that has a portion of the beer, aged in Chardonnay wine barrels. Those smell so good to me. They smell so refreshing. It makes me feel cozy to smell that aroma, and that's what I get off of this beer. This smells really good.
Jason, you bring up a fair point in terms of like the tartness and not being like overly sour. For me, it definitely hits like the back of like the jowls, that sort of like puckery tartness, but it doesn't linger. It's more of a shock than it is like a lingering sour that you would expect from like a something more of a sour beer or more of an acidic beer. It's like it's there, it hits, you salivate, and then you move on.
Just like a good wine.
Yeah, it really activates those sour portions on your tongue, but it doesn't like leave you with heartburn. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like drinking something with a little bit of lemon versus downing lemon juice.
Yes, exactly. And I think the Saison characteristics of it, they help mellow it out after that initial blast.
Saison. I think this is the winner of the show next to the IPA. If I had to pick a winner, all the beers were fantastic though, right? I mean, aside from the weird nose on the hazy IPA, which flavor wise was fantastic. Everything was really, really awesome. Like
a big house character too,
right? Yeah, you can kind of tell. Yeah, if you're in slow San Luis Obispo area, like if you have not been here, you have to go check out There Does Not Exist, because like
I think we need a road trip.
Fantastic.
Well, there's so many breweries that are popping up in that area that I can't imagine. There's got to be several that are at least pretty decent. I know some friends up there who have told me about many that have popped up, and they've all really enjoyed most of it. But for one that I hadn't heard of this even from my friends who still live there, and these were all really, really good. I think the Saison at the end, and again from someone who I continue to say like Saison is not my favorite, but it's growing on me. Like this one is.
I love
really
a good Saison,
nice.
dude.
Even
that's good to hear. That's good to hear, Tim. Like, because you've said that a lot on the show. Like, you're not a big Saison guy, and but like, I'm happy to hear you like this.
Even this one's nice because it has like that it has that sort of sour to kind of just play with the funk. But even that first one, while it wasn't, out of control, it was crisp and nice and really, I mean, it's like you said, yeah, it's really, these are all these breweries we've been having lately have been really helping that sort of style grow. And I could see how refreshing and delicious it is, especially because, like you said, it's hot as balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super glad that my girlfriend has family up there, and when she was up there, asked, "Hey, what should I check out?" And her brother mentioned this place, and that's how I discovered them. They weren't on my radar at all. So, and then we lucked out that Tony Bags heard the show and sent us this beer because these are all really solid, really fucking cool spot. Anybody going up Central Coast, if they ever start having the Firestone Walker Invitationals again, it'll be a perfect road to Firestone stop.
I'm sure they're gonna bring the invitational back for sure. It's like the most popular like beer fest in the country as far as I know, or at least in my opinion. But
besides Ferk Fest,
yeah, besides Ferk Fest, which is making a comeback, maybe at the end of this year. No,
October 16th or 7th, sometime middle October. Firkenstein. It's gonna be it's gonna be Oktoberfest, Halloween themed. Zombie Oktoberfest.
Cool.
Feed my Frankenstein.
I think a fun thing too about this brewery is like, obviously you're going on your way up, like Firestone is up in that area and you're going to go to the Invitational. Like you're kind of working your way into it because this is like, ex Firestone kind of doing their own things. So you're almost getting like a taste of like the offshoots of what those from Firestone can do.
Yeah, well, it's like Firestone
really cool.
is spreading throughout the area. So when you are going there, you can taste the essence of Firestone. And when you actually get to Firestone, you get full experience.
Going to bring back up too that other breweries in the area we want to shout out: Liquid Gravity, Wild Fields, who are friends of the show. That's Ryan Fields. We've done some of their beer on here. Colony Mash, who I'm not familiar with. Liquid Gravity, I've had some of their stuff, and I had a lot of real sticky IPA from them, like just danky, sticky IPA, which is kind of cool because you don't get a lot of that these days. Nice. But Slow looks like it's really coming up. Apparently, every community but the Inland Empire can really mature and be a great beer scene.
Yeah, we're still standing in line.
Real estate's pretty inexpensive in the IE. Like, why wouldn't breweries want to move out there and make beer
it's not.
for people?
Everything's blown out of proportion right now. It's my house is worth $500,000, Greg, and you've been to my house, and it's I don't know, but thank you to Tony Bags for providing these beers. Again, there does not exist an Insta buy for me if I ever see them on the shelves here in the IE. And if you see them on the shelves in your area, you should definitely check them out. So thank you so much for these beers, Tony.
Yes, thank you. And maybe when we get to tea breweries, you should bring it back.
It's not too far off. Like we're getting to MNO, P, Q, and R, right? Next episode. So RST. So that'd be like 2 weeks away. Yeah.
Pizza Port is like it's a double banger with the points. And then Q, I don't think there is a Q brewery, so we're just kind of like gonna cheat a little. I have a Q beer. I have a Q beer name. So, and then R, like, dude, it's gonna be a good show. Russian River, that's another double.
I did not even think of Russian River. Well, we have Radiant, right? Did you get that Radiant?
Radiant,
beer? Greg.
Which one?
The Chapman collab.
I already drank them.
I know, but were you able to get it again?
No. I remember what it tastes like.
Oh, okay.
I have an encyclopedic knowledge of it. It's like lemon verbena. I'll see if I can find it.
All right. Well, I gave one to Jason, so if Tim and Greg can get one,
I have one.
Should be.
I've got one.
So it's up to you, Greg.
I totally remember what it tastes like. So
try to get.
Like,
the power is yours.
All right.
You guys can stop recording.
I take it. Yeah, we ended.
Yeah. So quick shout out to Phil Lorenzini in the Twitch chat for gifting 2 tier 1 subs. He gifted a sub to Andy Richter from STL. Shout out to Andy Richter. and gifted a tier 1 sub to Lemonade 3000. So thanks, Phil.
Oh, sweet. That makes a lot more sense then. I saw randomly where Lemonade thanked Lorenzini, and I was like, what happened? I don't know.
He's like, thanks, bro.
You can gift subs on Twitch.
Yeah, we just don't get that in the aggregated stream
unless we're watching
area.
Twitch.
Yeah, I have a screen. I have a screen in the studio dedicated just to the Twitch stream, so I can see those kind of things. So,
dude, fun fact: I looked up. Theirs does not exist on Google Maps, and they are right next to Ernie Ball, like the guitar string people, like where they manufacture the guitar strings.
No way!
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of neat.
If you want to murder somebody with a guitar string,
that's what I use. Like Ernie, I've used. Oh my god, that's crazy.
I mean, so does everybody. So
yeah,
Ernie Ball and Diodario strings too. Yeah. Dean Markley for a little bit. Yeah. God, guitar.
That Saison, you guys.
That's good. The Saison. I mean, the IPA was really good, but man, if I had to take Saison or IPA from these guys, Saison all the way. All the way.
I take the IPA. I have an easier time finding good farmhouse Saisons. Like those are around if you look for them, but good IPA is hard to come by.
Overall, like everything from this brewery was just on point.
Man, the joys of having fiber. My audio is already uploaded. All set.
What's your speeds?
That's a really good question. While I'm streaming, let me test it.
505. I'm gonna call Frontier and get my shit upgraded because I'm still at 150 and 150. So.
Let's see. Google put me at 650, 700.
I have to upgrade.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm on my Cox right now.
You are.
You are.
Yeah, I switched because we had an issue last week. They're going door to door telling people that they're working on the line. And I'm like, no problem. Let me go to my Cox internet.
It's 750 over 650 right now with multiple things streaming.
Fiber is a shit, man.
Yeah, my audio is uploaded. I'm sorry about the echo. I will make sure to be better about that next time.
Dude, buy that thing. Just spend the money.
I will. I didn't.
I'll pay you back.
I didn't think it'd be here in time. Like that was my problem. Like I would have ordered it, but then we moved, and I didn't think I'd get it in time.
So are you moved? Like officially?
Almost. Very close.
Well, make sure I get your new address.
I will.
So.
Right,
and invite us over for a party sometime. I don't know,
exactly. Okay. I'll work on that.
I was saying to Jason, we need an end of summer party.
Sounds good.
At Greg's house?
Barbecue. No, at his house.
Oh,
or mine. I don't care.
At Jason's house.
Yeah, mine's fine, but
all my things are here, so I don't mind.
He's the one with the smoker.
That's right, smoking them meats. That's got some beef ribs.
I'm down for an end of summer party for sure.
All right, you guys let me know. I'm gonna take off now though. I got some stuff. I got some IKEA furniture to go build actually.
All right, Sam. Peace out.
Take it easy, guys.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks.
Bye.
Drive.
Google Drive. So
we're still streaming? Yeah, okay. Hi, people.
We are. Hey.
Any questions? Any comments?
What are you guys drinking? Are you drinking right now? I hope so.
I would hope people are drinking if they're watching this.
Yeah.
All 14 of you. Beautiful.
You need to watch us.
People.
Right?
I just got my hair cut, so I feel like a new man.
You're back to old Greg, like with the shortcut.
Dude, the long hair, man. Ugh, that was rough. I just got. I was working in the yard, and it was just too much hair, dude.
Yeah, when I mean, even my hair right now is longer than it should be. God, it feels so refreshing to have like just a clean.
God, I walked out. I was like,
cut. Even getting out of the shower, like drying your hair off, and like it takes like one swipe, you're done. So, Avery Ward drinking Radio Silence by Birds Fly South Ale Project. Huh.
Never heard of that.
Phil Lorenzini, Untitled Art, dry hopped watermelon lime goza. Whew.
Wow.
That sounds appropriate for Untitled Art. That's definitely an Untitled Art beer.
So I'm talking to Evan Price at Green Cheek to do a 10-year OC Beer Blog collab, and he wants to do it, but he so far hates all of my ideas.
Okay, so what are your ideas so far?
I wanted to do like just a straight up red ale, and he's like, "No one's gonna fucking drink that." I was like,
"Well, he's being honest, you know."
I was like, "God damn it, I will." I know 2 other people, and I was like, well, "Okay, anything German."
Lawrence is drinking Sponge by Weldworks. That's cool. Shark Homebrewing Stereo Pilsner by Brewery Rucoler Helles. Oh no, I'm sorry. Stereo Pilsner and Brewery Rucoler Helles. I got that now.
Yeah, their Helles is so good.
Yeah,
they use. I think they decoct their Helles, and they also do kreuziting. So they're doing one batch and then using the yeast to like traditional German style.
That's cool.
Did we highlight Mario Perez's Green Cheek Timbo?
I did not know. Shout out.
Yeah. I got the Green Cheek Timbo yesterday because Highland Park ran out of theirs. So Green Cheek it is.
It was, yeah, the Green Cheek one is very IPA-ish.
For those unaware, this last week was Timbo week at Highland Park, and they did a bunch of collab beers. I didn't follow it precisely. I got the emails and checked them out, but yeah, there was Timbo and Jumbo and I don't know, other forms of Timbo. Mm-hmm. Apparently Highland Park sold out of a lot of the well, they sold out of Timbo, period, which is cool.
Yeah, the Timbo week in general was like a huge success, it seems like.
Yeah.
Dude, people are on lagers now, man. Pilsner's in. Limbo. We got Timbo. We got Jimbo. I don't know if there's a Bimbo, like they did a collab with the Mexican bread company.
Oh, okay. I think Bimbo pills would not track well.
Totally. Yeah. Not in 2021.
No. I mean, even Bimbo, the bread company, it was just like,
Somebody used to do a collab with the Hawaiian bread people that are in Torrance, like Monkish and the Hawaiian bread dude.
Avery Ward asked, who is Timbo, by the way? It was one of the guys that used to be like an assistant brewer there.
Yeah, cool guy. Back early days, Highland Park.
Yeah, and I think it was his recipe, or he created the pills. I don't know if he made it or if it was just named after him, but either way. I'm not sure what he's doing now. I know he's moved on from being a brewer there, but they had pictures of him this week. He was there for the Timbo week and everything.
Back when Highland Park used to brew out of like a hot tub as their mash tun.
Timbo was also the name that my friend Steve gave my former bass player of one of the first bands I was in the early 2000s, Timbo. And he peed. This guy Timbo got so drunk he peed on the floor of my roommate, who was Steve, his bedroom. He just opened the closet and started going pee.
He's like Fergalicious.
And like Steve woke up and he heard like running water, and he's like, he saw the dude peeing. He just goes, "Timbo, what are you doing?"
Peeing in the closet.
His name was Timbo from that point on.
Oh man, I had a friend in college that stood on. He was sleepwalking, stood up on his bed and peed on his own bed.
Wow, that sucks.
I was like, dear God, dude. I was like, the next day I went to the office. I'm like, can I move? Yeah, my guy sleepwalks and pees.
Sleep.
Did he sleep in it?
Yeah, he went right back to sleep. And I was like, can I sleep in your guys' dorm tonight? Because I don't want any part of that.
Do you know what he went on to do? Like, after?
I would assume so. Yeah, he's probably like a pastor of a church or something because it was. I went to Concordia University.
That man's a Republican congressman now.
Totally. I mean, when you piss the bed, you just like you're sleeping and you're laying down peeing on it. He like stood up and was like just going to town.
He's like, I'm pissing in my bed
On purpose.
of my own volition, not
an accident.
Oh dear God!
Got to dominate the bed.
Lutheran College, man. Feeling new. There's so many stories. This IPA is just still banging, dude.
I'm still on the saison from the bottle. Yeah.
I wonder what their house yeast is like. I wonder if it's not kale ale. It doesn't seem like it's like just it's got everything has a lot of yeast character.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very good.
All right, so thanks to everyone for hanging out in the live stream. We will be back next, I think Saturday. We're doing a show. We're doing the PQ&R show, unless
Sunday.
something else comes up. It is no, I don't think it's next Sunday. Is it? Is it?
I think we're doing Sunday.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Sunday. We'll see you guys then. Probably between 1:30 and 2:30.
Yeah. We're going to say 1:30, but it really means 2:30.
Keep your eyes open. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys next time.